What is being ignored here?
Oh gosh, where do you start? Since 2021, six local authorities have effectively declared themselves bankrupt. And within the next 2 years, we could see 26 more councils and upward declaring themselves bankrupt too. And this is across parties as well. We're not just talking about Labour-run councils, we're talking about Conservative councils too. And, if you think central government funding has been reduced by 40% in real terms since 2010, which does obviously coincide with austerity. But you do have to consider inflation and the increasing demand for adult and children's social care and temporary accommodation. I mean, what we do about this is extremely difficult because we've allowed this situation to spiral out of all control. Housing is absolutely a mess. And, the local government authority revealed the other day that one council was quoted £63,000 per week for one child. That is simply an astonishing figure, and the taxpayer cannot be allowed to be taken advantage of like this.
Where is the root issue that is fixable? You say it's complex. Of course it is. We just had our Labour councillor from Milton Keynes saying 13 years of austerity, basically. It's been very tough for councils, that it's not about mismanagement at the local level. We're hearing there about expensive, individualised issues that each council is dealing with. It sounds like a real headache. And being a Brit, it's not something we want to hear, our councils going bankrupt. So, I mean, if you were to find somewhere to start looking for a solution, where would you look?
Well, there has to be much more funding from central government, whether that's Conservative government or Labour manages to form a government soon. They're going to have to inject money in there unless we want to see our towns effectively die and, turn into dumps. I don't think anybody wants that. And whether we have to look at reform as well, whereby private companies cannot be allowed to profiteer from other people's misery and misfortune.
Yeah, and there is also the element you mentioned there at the high streets. We spoke about businesses complaining about the fact that town centres are being left to turn into dumps, but also prospects for young people and the levelling up agenda as well between North and South. That hasn't really been delivered either. How does that all fold into this story?
Oh, well, it's just, like I say, it is a really, really complex issue. And you're going to have to probably look at putting more housing into our town centres now. I mean, in my own council alone, for each three-bedroom social house, we're looking at 900 bids each for that house. So we're really seeing the effects now of selling off whole swathes of our social housing and then also putting a lot of them into the care of housing associations. And then councils are having to fork out money for temporary accommodation for constituents if they face homelessness or if they're at risk or are homeless. It's a really, really big problem.